The Help is a movie that was released in 2011 and was very successful. It was a movie about how life was in southern states of America in the 1960s. The film was watched by Minny and made over $200 million worldwide. With many eyes on the film, it also stirred up some controversy. The 2011 film, The Help, drew significant criticism from its decision to center the narrative around a white protagonist, Skeeter, as the voice for the black maids.
I'd like to do a book of interviews about working for white families. And we could show what it's like to work for, say, Elizabeth.
You know what Miss Leaf would do to me if she knew I was telling stories on her?
Well, I was thinking that we wouldn't have to tell her. The other maids would have to keep it a secret, too.
Other maids?
Well, I was hoping to get 4 or 5.
As stated by Dakota of MovieWeb.com, at large, the movie is out of touch and full of tropes dismissive of the black experience in the 1960s. Too many films have tried to tackle racial injustice with a white protagonist at the forefront, and The Help is no different, having Emma Stone's character acting as a voice for discriminated black maids. This character choice raised concerns about the problematic narrative that prioritizes the perspective of the privileged over the voices of the marginalized. Skeeter's character reinforces the white savior trope, diminishing the impact of the maids in the story, and making their struggle into a moment for the white character's personal growth. By overshadowing the maid's experiences with Skeeter's narrative, the film reduces the complexities of racial dynamics. The film's focus on Skeeter's journey to publish the maid's story undermines the authenticity and depth of the maid's experiences, reducing their voices for the protagonist's moral development. For example, the film Hidden Figures in 2016, which was directed by Theodore Melfi, uses Kevin Costner's character, Al Harrison, to act as the white character that fixes all racial injustice at NASA.
There we have it. No more colored restrooms. No more white restrooms. Just plain old toilets. Go wherever you damn well please. Preferably closer to your desk.
The Help centers around individual acts of resistance, particularly Skeeter's efforts to document the maid's stories. While these individual narratives are compelling, they may inadvertently overshadow the collective and systematic nature of the civil rights struggle, which involved a broader community of activists and advocates. Sierra Borsch states, "Overall, I think it proves that African American history, as well as culture, is being whitewashed in our society today, causing their past to be particularly erased from history. It is yet another fantasy created by whites about African Americans, which became very popular and successful." The film presents a sanitized version of the 1960s South. This portrayal diverges from the reality of the time, where prevalent racial segregation and economic differences led to a more depressing life for African Americans in the South. The film's portrayal inadvertently perpetuates the idea that meaningful change can be achieved through the actions of an individual, rather than emphasizing the need for a collective and systematic transformation. By centering the story around Skeeter, the film shifts the focus away from the lived experience of the African American maids. The narrative choices often simplify the maids' struggles, presenting them as secondary characters in their own stories. The harm theory holds that if and when a minority character, in this discussion African American, appears in a mainstream movie, that character's image is likely to be compromised and marginalized in some way, shape, or form. The empowerment and liberation of black characters depend upon a white figure's actions. The problematic nature of relying on a white character to drive the narrative of racial injustice is common in movies that a white director directs. Viola Davis spoke out after the movie's popularity rose, stating, "There's no one who's not entertained by The Help, but there's a part of me that feels like I betrayed myself and my people because I was in a movie that wasn't ready to tell the whole truth. The Help was created in the filter and the cesspool of the systematic racism. The narrative approach of the movie ultimately undermines the opportunity to offer a more authentic and nuanced representation of the maid's narratives. The Help in general, on one hand, it's juicy, heartwarming, well-meant entertainment. On the other hand, it's an owner's manual. This movie reinforces a patronizing perspective that fails to address the underlying structural inequalities. The film tends to understate the systematic power imbalances and the harsh consequences faced by African American domestic workers. While The Help provides a narrative lens into the struggles of the 1960s South, it is crucial to recognize its departures from historical accuracy. The film's dramatized portrayal serves as a starting point for discussions and about the need for nuanced and authentic representation of history and cinematic storytelling. In the film, Abilene and Minny exemplify the character stereotypes of the Mammy. The Mammy is depicted as a large motherly black woman who cooks, takes care of the white children, and serves their white owners.
What?
I just want you to know I'm real grateful you're here.
You guys plenty more to be grateful for than me.
Kind. You is smart. You is important. You is smart. You is kind. You is important. That's so good.
The Mammy character is used in stories to make audiences laugh and forget about harmful stereotypes. These harmful stereotypes have a long history in American culture. For example, Aunt Jemima, which started in 1889, a time when African Americans were routinely exploited. The brand was focused around a black female who was obese, asexual woman with no other purpose to cook and serve. From her role as Minny, Octavia Spencer won the Academy Award for Supporting Actress for playing a Mammy character. Most people who watched this film took everything as fact. The New York Times pointed out in an article about The Help that people who watch historical movies tend to accept what is presented as the definitive historical truth. Moreover, such was truth for The Help more than any other civil rights film. The Help has the potential to influence future generations by presenting an inaccurate narrative that, if accepted as fact, could shape perceptions of historical events and social dynamics in the 1960s American South. The film's dramatized and oversimplified portrayal of the relationships between white employers and African American maids risks perpetuating misconceptions about the persuasive racial injustice of the time. If taken uncritically, this fictionalized version of history may contribute to a distorted understanding of the struggles faced by marginalized communities, potentially reinforcing stereotypes and downplaying the systematic nature of racial discrimination. It emphasizes the responsibility of audiences, especially future generations, to approach historical narratives with a discerning eye, recognizing the importance of seeking out more accurate depictions to have a better understanding of the past. The backlash against The Help pushed the film industry to rethink how it approached accurate storytelling. Criticisms about its portrayal of race and use of the white savior trope made filmmakers realize the importance of more authentic and nuanced narratives. This negative response prompted the industry to prioritize diverse voices and perspectives, understanding the influence of cinema on public perceptions. The controversy around The Help sparked a broader conversation, leading to a positive change towards more responsible, inclusive, and accurate portrayals of historical and social issues in films.